he's just playing other people's music, you know, what's the big deal? But the turntable is definitely a musical instrument, and that's what we're trying to show.
I kept hearing a small portion of the record going over and over and over.
And you just keep it going and going.
They're coming to hear the music that you're playing.
So there might be that little few seconds, but you make them seconds go into a minute.
People are coming to hear you.
You might make it even go to 2 minutes.
Just, you're in control of everybody.
Or 10 minutes, whatever. If they kept going wilder and wilder, you just kept it playing and playing.
And by the time they leave, they're gonna know who you are.
DJing made me popular. That's why, I mean, in addition to loving the music, that's why I love being a DJ.
I wanted to be a DJ so I could stop being in gangs.
I wasn't into sports, you know what I'm saying? I wasn't no great athlete. I wasn't the smartest kid in the school. I didn't drink, I didn't smoke. I wasn't no bully. So I was just there.
Hip-hop helped me stay out of jail for as long as I did.
I could keep my mind like down low persona, but I can still show off at the same time.
I think what it is the competition in the battles is what kept hip-hop alive, because that competitive edge making one DJ want to be better than the next DJ, or you know, it catapulted it into a challenging stage, which kept everybody on their toes, which is still keeping everybody on their toes to the day.
What was it like? Really, me as a kid, I was always into myself. You know, I was the kind of person I wanted to be different from everybody else. Just like when I used to listen to other DJs, everybody played the same music, the same way. Yeah. You know, I wanted to be different. Yeah, because all records have grooves in it. And usually the best part of the record had the heavier grooves in it. So you take the needle and put it to the heavy part of the groove of the record, and then you just wait.
Your hands have to be so steady, at the same time fast, that you can pick the needle out of the groove and move it exactly 2 grooves back. 2 grooves. Two grooves back on a record with a needle. That's like the needle in the haystack theory.
So I remember when I was in the house and I came home from school, and you know, I was just in the room just messing around with the record. I think I was about 13, 14 years old, you know. And my mother was banging on the door telling me, you know, cut that music down. So I stopped the music and she opened the door and she was talking to me. At the same time she was talking to me, I felt myself, you know, moving the record, you know, back and forth and forth and back while she was talking to me, because I wanted to keep that same groove I was on. So I was talking to her and I was listening to the record and I was like back and forth, and I said to myself, hey, this sounds pretty good here, you know? So I started practicing it, you know, practicing it different, and it became a scratch. The part of the record that you want is the part, you see break beats here. When the beat comes around, that's where your beat is at, right there. The record comes on at the beat, that beat right there. Always. Always. You can never wake up the next morning and make it get crazy with you and say, I'm going to come in on the E or the T or anything. It's always on the B. You know when you get this record and leave it right there at the B, you know it's going to be there.
The first time I heard a scratch was actually hearing Grandmaster Flash do some little which was kind of primitive at where we know now, but at that time it was magic. It was like Grandmaster Flash throwing this record in, and and it was like, yo, that's incredible. But then the second time I heard the sax was when I ran out the park and went home to practice it. So it was like I was at that point, whereas if the Pioneers brought it out, it wasn't too long before the secondary Pioneers was up on it. People like me, like a Flash did it today, I'll be in the park the next day doing either the exact same scratch or something that I perfected on my own in the lab. Herc alone had the concept and by himself. And then the two guys who came, I would say, parallel together was Bam on one side of the Bronx and Flash. And then from them came offspring. Me, I was inspired by Herc. Islam was inspired by Bam. Theodore, Flash. And us three are like the next crew of the second generation of the hip-hop DJs, and the three of us took it to the next level. Because when I cut it, it just had a percussion sound. It was like almost like a Guica, but electronic, you know. And it just cut through everything that we had to cut through. It was something that I made a mistake at home, and the fella said it was dope, so I kept doing it, and I developed it, and then that's what I was doing. You know, is that simple? And it wasn't like I'm going to make this ingenious sound. No, it was a mistake, and it worked, and I kept it.
That scratch that he did on Herbie Hancock Rocket set up everything. That shit changed the whole venue of scratching.
The epitome of DJs. Everyone to me learned everything on wax. He was the first to orchestrate scratches. To this day, you can listen to his things and they're orchestrated as an instrument.
That had so many people fucked up. It was like he's manipulating that record rather fast. You know what I'm saying? He was doing something that had people fucked up. So, you know, he changed everything. To incorporate DJing as an instrument, really, you know what I mean? It was that technical breakthrough, you know what I mean? With how underground it was. Now all of a sudden, you heard a record with a very well-known jazz person, Herbie Hancock, and there was a DJ scratching on it.
And I didn't like it. Did not like that. I went, fucked it up, man. Yeah, I mean, it had to grow on me. It took a few hours, you know, to grow on, but I listened to it and I just had a different direction of where Herbie went. It wasn't no one but what Herbie did to it. What he added, I had a problem at first. And I went, yo, it's like, yeah, and I was like, oh, that shit is out. What do you do to this song? Then I listened to it and I just didn't see that part. Yes, musically, what the effect that it was actually going to have on the entire music industry. When I was standing on the stage at the Grammy Awards and looking at that Grammy going, yo, we're standing here and that's a Grammy, and we did it.
You weren't just pressing play.
Yeah, I was like, yo, that's Michael Jackson sitting there. and Lionel Richie and James Brown and all of these people that, you know, they were sitting there going like this, hey, y'all, you the man, you know, and I was like, oh, this is for real, and this can take us far. And at that point, hip hop took a leap. And it was incredible, because at that point it was like hip hop went wham, mainstream music.
Because that's when the rapping shit started taking over, and all the rappers were catching their most wreck. And when a rapper did something, it was the rapper, oh, you have a DJ? Before, it was a DJ, oh, you have rappers? Then that rapping shit started taking over, so rappers became the forefront of this hip-hop shit.
The Latin shuffle. That's when you dance with the record. I did a little bit of it in the seminar.
Aladdin was fucking everybody up all day, breaking the records down. He was like breaking like Special Ed's record down, Peter Piper, and all that. He was just breaking shit down all day, and everybody's like, damn, that should sound like he's making a whole completely different beat. But it wasn't. You know what I'm saying? He was just breaking it down real slow and catching every beat, every hi-hat, every, you know what I'm saying? And Miz wasn't having it, so Miz went up there and did it. Like, it was like just something that just happened, like God came down and zapped him. And like when he first started to break it down, you could see that he was just trying something and it just came together, you know what I'm saying? And he just started breaking it down and freaked it. And he just went back to the crates and just did it. And that fucked everybody's head up, because Aladdin was doing it to everybody that whole day. And nobody else knew what the hell he was doing. And Miz figured it out real quick and did it back to him.
Right after that, like right after one of Miz's routines, I mean, Aladdin was sitting down and he just ran over to Miz and hugged him. You know what I mean? It was like a sort of respect there, no matter that they were both battling for the world title.
To New Music Seminar number 10, World Champion DJ Miz! DJ Miz! Yo, both of put your hands together for DJ Aladdin! Put your hands together!
Look at the big homies. Let's go see the big homies from the hood. This my neighborhood right here. You got it on? This front hood Compton. This where I'm from right here. This my brother right here. This my brother right here hanging out. This Compton, this where I grew up at. You know what I'm saying? This where I grew up at, all around here. Being exposed, this being exposed, hustling. Y'all gonna see yourself, boy. This all for my new album. Keep it pimpin', big homie. Yeah.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, the championship is up for grabs right now. On my left, your right. From Italy, with pasta and more, this is Francesco. On my right, your left, from Harlem, New York, this is Steve D. I ask both you brothers to step to the front. with DJ Clark Kent. We're gonna flip the coin. Come on up, Francesco. Steve D.
Francesco Zappelli, an Italian kid. And he's good with the physical stuff.
This is Francesco.
Francesco didn't speak a word of English, and I'm always wondering when he was cutting Rock the Bells, what it would really say to him. Like the way we hear Rock the Bells, what would he say it was?
Yep. 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 That means DMC champion last year, and this year, new music seminar, DJ champion, world supreme. You want to say anything, man? Sure, Steve? First, I want to thank God first. Alright. Money back. You first, okay. Yo, my hat looks right. Shut up.
I'm gonna go take a shower and bullshit. Yeah, we all know that. Y'all going uptown?
And then so I was asking my friends in high school, like, what's scratching? And then they go, oh man, that's easy. You take the needle and you rub the needle across the record and you make that scratching sound. I could do it. And I was like, wow, that's fresh. And so that's what I thought scratching was rubbing the needle across the record. I was like, okay, that's what scratching is, rubbing the needle. What's a big deal? Okay, so what? So, but then my friend said, no, it's not like that. Another guy told me this, after that guy told me that, and he said, scratching is moving the record back and forth. So we got turntables and we started messing with it. He showed it to me like that. And then, that's after that, I heard a tape from my friend. It was that Tour de France. I was going, I thought I could scratch. I was like, oh man, I can scratch. I learned this one scratch. It was, wugga, 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 and I thought, I'll blow anybody away. No. And then I learned this one. It was, By the time I had to use the side right here. So I did that so that the thing in here wouldn't what do you call it? There would be no space, no gaps in there because I would be pressing on it. I would go, I was like, man, I will kill anybody in scratching now. I thought I was the baddest guy in the world. And then I met Mixmaster Mike for the first time, like 2 months later, like after I learned all that. And then my buddy goes, yeah, we're gonna be hooking up with this guy, Mixmaster Mike. And I'm like, who the fuck is this guy? And so I go, I get on the turntable, and what's up? You know, acting all bad, and you know, doing that. Then Mike comes up and he goes, yeah, let me try that. And he gets on there and goes, what? And my mouth just said, I was like, what the fuck? And then that's when I met Mike, you know. And then after that, the scratch was, right? And then after that, you would learn. Right? And then it got more advanced. It was, what was it? So we went to his house, and we would go to his house all the time and watch him practice, because at the time he knew all the rocket scratches, you know, fresh and fresh. He knew all that stuff, and so it was like that. I was really advanced for me at the time. I was like, God damn. And then he was just such a natural at mixing and stuff. It was always clean. Everything was just so clean from Mike, and I would just be there every at his parties all the time, just right next to the turntables, watching him. Like that, always trying to learn stuff from him.
Q used to come to my house before Q was even like really a DJ, and I was the one that was doing the scratching back then, and he was just like, yo, do that again, Mike. I was like, all right, and I would do scratches in front of him, and Q would be like, wow, no, do it again, Mike. He just kept asking, bugging me, do it again, Mike. I would do it. This scratch was in DJ. That day he was like, so that was fresh back in the day. So Q used to bug out. He used to bug out on that shit when I used to do it. I was like, damn, I didn't think he would like really pick up fast. And all of a sudden,
for somehow a battle came up against me and Mixmaster Mike in high school, right?
Just out
of nowhere, right? His crew was called Audio Visuals, and we were called Creative Images. And then, whatever that means.
Out the fucking blue, here comes Cuba.
And then all of a sudden, the scratch battle came up at the end, right? So, and Apollo walks in. And Apollo's like the big DJ of the Bay Area, you know. DJ, oh shit, Apollo's here, you know. And he would walk in, because he knew he was fresh. He had his backpack on, he was like, yeah, what's up? He'll come up to me, and he'll go, hey man, go fuck that DJ up. And then he'll go over to Mike, and he'll go, hey man, go fuck that DJ up.
There would be a setup over here, and Cuba would be scratching, then be set up over here. It was then back and back and forth battles. I come up to Mike and be like, yo, fuck him up, bud, do that shit up, you know. And then he do that shit, and I run over to Q side.
Then it'll be on Q side.
Shit, fuck him up, do that shit.
Right, and then so we were like, oh shit, Apollo told us to fuck him up. So, you know, so me and Mike were battling each other, and Mike would go off, and I would go off, and then Mike would go. It was like a seminar, but we didn't know it. You know what I mean? It was like fucking, it was a trip and shit. And
what?
Oh, Mike totally blew me away. I mean, I hung in there, but just Mike just had more advanced stuff.
And I'm hearing and I was like, oh my God, who is this kid? And it was this fool. I was in the 10th grade and he was in the 9th. He was the baddest DJ, baddest bedroom DJ there was in the world.
So from that battle, Apollo was like, oh man, this guy Mike is like the dopest, right? So Apollo goes to Mike, yo, dude, we gotta hook up. So that's when those two guys hooked up, and they did a routine with Peter Piper, a 2-man routine with Peter Piper on 2 turntables and 1 mixer.
Get this, the first ever assembled DJ band in 1985 is called Together with Style. That was me and Apollo. So we were the first.
That's where we first had done Peter Piper.
Yeah.
I'm like the biggest biter of all time. If I see a dope style, like I'm gonna have to take it and then, incorporate it in my style. But at the same time, I'll switch it around and change it, But when I was younger, of course, I would be doing the exact same thing they would do. And that's how people would be like, oh, he's a biter. So I'll be like, I got to do something about that.
And Q would be like, wow, no, do it again, Mike. He just kept asking me.
Like, okay, damn. What's he doing? So every time I would always bite stuff from Mike. Okay, I got a new idea now. I always bite stuff from Mike. Mike would come over and I'll bite. I would go to Mike's house and bite. And all Mike's mixtapes. I would always, oh, you got Mike's new mixtape? Let's hear it. I would always buy everything. And then one day, Mike moved away to Sacramento, where he lives right now. And this was in 80, I guess he moved away in 87 or something. And then I was like, damn, who am I gonna buy from now? So that's where I made up an idea of, if I was Mike, what would I be doing right now? Then I started coming up with all these crazy ideas. Then I started getting good and stuff. And I was just, damn, what else would he be doing right now? Then I was thinking about it. And then, so around 89, me and Mike hooked up again to battle, right?
Together or?
Yeah, not together, but we had to battle each other again in 89.
Where was this?
This was in like Stockton, California. And then what do you call it? So we battled, and then it was like, fuck. I did my best stuff, and I didn't know what he was gonna come out with because I haven't seen him for hell of years. And then so we battled, and then I won by like half a point. You know, it's like, you know, everyone said, oh, Mike should have won or this and that, but you know, I kind of just barely made it. I was like, wow, I fucking beat him, yeah. And then fucking so maybe a year later, I got a Cash Money tape, and I was like, you know, audio tape of Cash Money. And at the time, I was like, I'll beat anybody now. I was, you know, big-headed, you know. Like, man, I'll kill anyone on DJing. All of a sudden, they go, yeah, check out this Cash Money guy. I'm like, oh my God, what does this guy got? You know, I would listen to it, and I was like, again, my mouth, I was like, oh, fuck. And so I fucking learned all that shit. The West Coast competition came. And that was people from LA and you know all West Coast, right? 91. So I was like, oh fuck, I'm just gonna do my best. I'm not gonna win or nothing, you know, I'm just gonna do whatever. So all of a sudden, I win, right? So I was like, fuck, I win, all right. And then I go to the US competition, I'm like, no way. There's no way I'm gonna win. I'm just gonna do my best.
Where was it?
US competition in Chicago.
Okay.
So, and there was people like Steve D and Supreme, and oh man, I was like, god damn, this guy Steve D is just fucking bad as fuck, you know. And I was like, so I'm not gonna win. There's no way I'm gonna win. So all of a sudden, then I win, right? So I go to the U.S. Eliminations with the 26 countries or whatever, and I'm like,
You mean the world eliminations?
The world eliminations. Like, oh no way. There's so many DJs here. There's no way I'm gonna win. I'm just gonna do my best.
Okay.
Right? Yeah. So I get it, and all of a sudden I win the eliminations. All right. Then all of a sudden I gotta go to the world finals, right? And at that time I was like, I'm gonna beat everybody. You know, and all of a sudden it takes second. I'm like, oh shit. You know what I mean? So it's like, fuck. I should have kept the mentality of just, I'm gonna do my best.
Who came in first?
DJ David. It's always when I say that I'm gonna kill him that I lose. But whenever I'm humbled, I always win for some reason. It's always like that. I don't know why. And he was fooling the crowd, and I was like, I gotta give him big props because he is fooling the crowd. You know what I mean? I was like,
What was the crowd not seeing?
The crowd's not seeing, like, he's not really doing it. He's just going. And I was like, oh my god. And then so he's not really, he's just like letting two records play, and he would like offset one, and he would hit the fader really fast. And come on, you know, you can just go like this, fast on the fader and make that exact same sound. And it was his theatrics and stuff. He was going on like, and you know, it's just like, oh man. So and then he did the handspin on the turntable, and that just killed me right there. I was like, oh my god. And then everyone just blew up. They hella blew up right there. And they oh man, they were all tripping out and shit. And then
How'd you feel?
How'd I feel? I was like, no, this is not happening right now. Oh shit, I went all this way.
Spin on the turntable, I mean, that isn't really DJ, you know, but it went a bit to it, but everything does go to extreme, you know what I mean? You take something that way, it's someone else's job to take it further than that way. And sometimes there's a limit you can take it to.
I think we've created a monster, really. I think DJing on the whole now, over here in England, it's become a bit of a circus. It really has. It's like Like, I want to hear something funky getting cut up. I want to hear it sound. I want to hear it so I can turn away and hear the DJ going off and be doing his tricks and everything and be on beat and still sound cool. I don't want to hear. I'd rather hear that and see that than see someone doing backflips and not even dropping the shit on beat.
Then there's people who like circuses who think that that shit is bananas. And it's wow! And I'm just like, there's no DJing to that. You know what I'm saying? I want to see DJing.
I went from 3rd place to losing in the 2nd round of my 2nd battle, the Superman battle. Then I lost in the 1st round of the Clark Kent battle. This is the 3rd battle I was in, so I was going backwards. And I was like, hold up, man, what is going on? I was ready to kill somebody that day. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't even a thing where I just felt crushed. I mean, I was ready to just jump right over the judge's table and just strangle somebody. Because I was like, the crowd was on my side. They thought I won. Clark Kent gets on the mic and says, I don't know about that one. You know what I'm saying? What was the judges seeing? You know what I'm saying? Is it that they don't like me? You know what I'm saying? Is someone on the judging panel jealous of me? What is it? You know what I'm saying? I don't know. After that, I was really considering just not battling anymore because it takes too much out of you emotionally to actually put all this time, energy, and effort into practicing. And then you enter in this battle, and it's not going to even be fair. You know what I'm saying? That took a lot out of me emotionally. And I went home, and I practiced that same night. But this time, I really didn't know what I was practicing for. Because it was like, man, it's just going to happen again anyway. You know what I'm saying? So why even do it? I knew the DFC was coming up, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna do this one more time. You know what I'm saying? If things don't work out, then maybe it just wasn't meant for me to win a battle. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes you just gotta realize that in life. I think that certain things just aren't. It's like you may, in my opinion, you may set out to achieve certain things, but along the way you may fail at something. You know what I'm saying? And there's nothing wrong with failure. You know what I'm saying? You should just learn from it. And I found that all those battles, those 3 battles that I came in 3rd in and that I didn't even place in the other 2, they just built character in me. And it taught me how to practice even harder. It taught me to think about, well, maybe the judges are looking for this. Maybe I could give the crowd this.
I was like, Rob, we got to come up with something all new. Because at that time, instead of, people were just doing the patterns and just constantly doing the regular beat patterns, the 1-2 pattern that Steve started. That basic pattern everyone was doing that, and I said what we got to do is sit down, start with that, go into something else, and then continue it. Because again, I had broke down all limits, and I said I want to do things like songs, begin one thing and just take the record and just do a whole routine with just the record, one record, and just keep going where they think this is the routine, then you hit them with the routine, and they think that's the routine, hit them with another routine. And so he was like, what do you mean? I said, Rob, here, take these records home and work with them. I think these records can be worked with. He took it home. He said, Drew, when I had him, I was working on things, and we were coming up with a lot of things in my house. I said, here, take them home. He took them home. He called me a couple of days later, Drew, listen to this routine. And there was the Viz routine. And I was like,
Now, I gotta set myself up to hit him with the knockout punch. So I figured I'd do something simple, yet creative. And that's played with Roxanne Shante saying, he's
it's like kind of catchy because it sounds like a hook of what I'm. It sounds like the hook of what I'm about to like end off with, I guess. So check it out. Now it's like the knockout punch. You always want to end off with a bang. So I, from playing with it each day and stuff like that, I came up with a something that people don't usually do. People usually backspin the same noise or the same instrument or the same sound, like. But I was like, well, why don't I use one sound on one turntable and another sound on the other turntable? So I use here, and I use here. I use the kick and the snare, and I use the down on this side. And I came up with this. Now the ending. Routine ends. Another person, like another DJ who wasn't pushing themselves, would have probably just kept backspinning this part. That, like real normal, you know what I'm saying? But that's not the goal. The goal is to, try to be as different and as creative as possible.
You send an application. You gotta call up for an application, or you gotta call up for an application. They'll send you one, and then you gotta send in either audio or video demo.
Okay.
Right, and then there's like hundreds of DJs that'll enter from all over the world, and then they'll pick the top 16. With their own money, you fly into New York, or if you're lucky enough to live in New York, and get picked, which is most of them were anyway, because a lot of good DJs are in New York. You fly over there, and the competition, it's a head-to-head 16-man elimination battle where the winners advance and the losers are just, so long, buddy. And I got, first guy I was up against was Techniques. Everyone I went against was dope. They were just dope DJs, and I was real nervous because that was only the second time I'd been in like elimination type situation, because elimination and like DMC types are like two different styles. You have to adapt, right? And then the second guy was DJ Yoshi from Japan. He was Japan champion from '91, and he was a Superman Japan champion. And he was one of those guys that I used to watch on video all the time, going, man, look at this guy's dope, look at him, he's going off. And now here I am battling him, so that was like a hit on me. I was like, wow, and I won that one, right? And then I went against, the third guy I went against was Rectangle, was that right? Yoshi, the Rectangle, then won that battle. And then the finals was Mr. Sinister, right? And that's where I was scared the most, because throughout the whole competition, or before, we were hearing all these things like Mr. Sinister, man, he's got these beats that are killer, and they were.
I went into the competition to win, you know what I mean? But at the same time, if I didn't, I was already prepared not to get upset. My main concern was having people like what I do, you know what I mean? Even if I didn't win, having people just go, yo, that DJ was ill, you know what I mean? Just so people appreciate what I do. And I think I just barely won that, just barely. He did one thing. It was nice. It was nice what he did. It was real original. He played the tone. That's when the tone's just coming out. The pitch, yeah.
You could call him the tone master. I'll say 8-Ball's got stuck on a Qbert phase. You know, like Qbert did the tones and he flipped them, and then 8-Ball was just fascinated and he got stuck in that realm.
So I was trying to do all kinds of aspects of DJing, just everything I could fit into that routine, and all of a sudden this kid 8-Ball seen that, and she got a whole book of scratches and stuff, you know. I mean, of tones.
Well, you know, he did that. You know, let me see if I could do something above that. You know, then the biting thing comes into play. You know, which is another controversial thing. I've been blamed a lot for it, which I claim innocent.
The term biting, especially if you use the same record and do the same trick that someone has done, you know, in the past. I mean, if you're gonna take someone's move, I would do it better, you know, than that person did it in the first place, or slightly change it, you know, to put your style into it.
Learn from that one thing. Take a little, combine it with some of your own shit, and boom, there's a new sound or a new style that you just created right there.
Without influence, there wouldn't be no change. You know what I'm saying? Like, we have to have battles for DJs to do their stuff, and we know what's like. That's the new thing that's going out right now. And then like with that, we'll try to like not bite it, but try to get a little bit of idea and flip it your own way with your own style. You know? So.
Like, oh, he took my stuff, you know, like, oh man, what a biter. But then that's only if you haven't practiced and made more new stuff. If he bites your shit, by the time he gets it, if you're really good, you'll have some new shit anyway. So you wouldn't mind if you bit.
It's a compliment.
Yeah, it's a compliment. And at the same time, for me, if they bite, then I've done what I wanted, which is to pass the art on.
What am I gonna do for it now? Am I gonna add? I think it'll sound better if I would go zigga 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 instead of going. The initial one was zigga 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 zigga. You know what I mean? I'm gonna freak it a little bit harder or a little bit better than what that person did it. So now it becomes mine now.
My reaction is like, damn, you know, that's real cool. And he explained to me like anything you could do on a touch-tone phone, so I started messing with the phone, right? But then, well, I got home on my turntables and I finally got the record I needed for that. I said, you can do more than just Mary Had a Little Lamb, you know, you can do this, and then you can get into hip-hop songs too, right? And I started playing with more ranges and started, you know, doing more stuff.
Anybody from there can make up a sound how they want it to sound by just slowing up and down the pitch. You could, well, let's play Mary Had a Little Lamb or whatever. I mean, that's also not too hard to think about. You know what I mean? Or do for that matter. You know what I mean? All you have to do is play around with the pitches. You know what I mean? But to sit down and work on a pattern and make it sound like a track, you know, to make it sound like a slow track, that's something different. Majority of the crowd doesn't understand that, and that seeing visuals and stuff like that, that's what gets the crowd open. So they're like, why work on beats? Why, you know, put myself through the strain when I could just, you know, deceive the crowd with a little crap? And that's what they do.
Because when it comes to beats, you have to have an appreciation for beats in order to understand it, right? Like a lot of times, I'll be at a competition, right, and the guy's making dope-ass beats. I'm sitting there going, damn, that sounds good, right? And then just all these other people don't know anything, and all they know is scratching. They're just sitting there going, what?
Like that, hip level. Like that, hip level. like that, baby. Like that, baby. Like that, like that, like that, baby.
Okay, now I'm ready. You know, I look at a lot of old tapes from like the 40s and 30s, and I look at all these jazz blue players, and I like to just sit there and just study them, you know, because the music that they're doing, I would want to do that on the turntables. So I'll stay there for hours and just study these videotapes, and I'll try to duplicate what they're doing on their instrument on my turntable. But then right now I'm listening to a lot like Miles Davis and stuff because I'm learning about how he uses silences music and stuff. Silences, okay, like say before I learned about Miles, I would be doing Jimi Hendrix stuff and it would be like just constantly scratching all kinds of patterns and all kinds of, you know, just keep on going, you know, no pausing, no silence. But now that I listen to Miles Davis, so I incorporate like styles like, instead of, you know, you keep on going, you know, that's like Jimi Hendrix influence. Now it's a Miles Davis influence, so it'd be like more like pause. You know what I mean? Like the volumes would be like going low and high, and you just, oh man. See, for one thing, this guy is an old guy, so he's way advanced than all of us. I couldn't even touch him. Like he'd probably be way more. Like if he was scratching, this guy would be like say like the dopest scratcher at age 60, right? I'm only like what, 20, 25, 26, and you know this guy's like just ahead. So it's like I'm still learning from him, you know what I mean? I can't get his patterns yet, you know what I mean? It's kind of like, so we're trying to get to that level, but he's just too advanced. There's probably like millions of stages he's went through already that we haven't even thought of yet, you know what I
Represent for USA. Who have money? Come on.
get the black money, you get the motherfucking jacket, you get the mixer, and rent my man airfare tickets. Huh? And you better go to London and have tea with the Queen.
I never even thought about coming out here. Never until like, it didn't even hit me after I won the competition. Until like 3 weeks before I was going. And I'm like, damn, I'm going to London. I was real nervous.
In anything, you fall into a slump. The good shit about being in a crew is that there's always at least one person that isn't in a slump. Say, hey, look at this new technique I bumped into it. Look at this new style I found, whatever. Blah, blah, blah. And then you always have someone to pull you out of that shit. And that you're doing it as far as like competing, it makes you realize like what it is to take to win and what it is to be a loser. And it says, a winner says, let's find out. A loser says, nobody knows. A winner makes commitments. A loser makes promises. A winner says, I'm good, but not as good as I ought to be. A loser says, I'm not as bad as a lot of other people. A winner credits his good luck for winning, even though it wasn't his good luck. A loser blames his bad luck for losing, even though it wasn't his bad luck. A winner listens. A loser just waits until it's his turn to talk. A winner respects those who are superior to him and tries to learn from them. A loser resents their superiority of others and tries to find chinks in their armor. A winner does more than his job. A loser says, I only work here. A winner says, I fell. A loser says, somebody pushed me. And that shit is true. People with a winning mentality always blame themselves like, yo, I could have did better, yo. I could have did this, I could have did that. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, wow. Wow. Nice. You're not gonna look.
Don't play with it. Don't use it.
Don't use it. Just look at it. Look at Angel. Look at Angel.
Can I touch it? That's nice.
Yeah, I know it wasn't gold. And you won the jacket. You got the one that you just had.
What's up, Rob? You know what happened, right?
1995 world champion, DMC. And it was just like, damn. Yo, man. It's just, it hasn't left you. You know what I'm saying? You want to do it, Rob. Don't fool yourself. You know what I'm saying? You want to get in another battle. You know what I'm saying? And I just put all that together. I felt that adrenaline that I always seem to feel when I want to do something. You know what I'm saying? That same feeling came over me. And I just been fighting with myself in the last 3 weeks. Yo, do you want to do it, man? Do you want to enter another battle and risk getting jerked or risk even losing? And I guess I do. I want to send you home thinking about what I just did. And I want to send you home wanting to attempt what I just did. And if you're not a DJ, I want to send you home considering to be a DJ. You know what I'm saying?